topics. So now I'm going to deliver my webinar on design thinking, creative thinking, and innovation design. So these three fields, so the design thinking, creative thinking, and innovation design, it is very much useful for entrepreneur. So for an example, you want to start up one company, means you, so for an example, if you are normal thinker, means you cannot do much much more, you cannot add some much more flavor to that particular company. So you have to, as a creative thinker, so they will think for one solution, one for an example, one problem, they will find many solutions. So this is a webinar which will be useful for you when you are going to do that startup. And if you want to become an entrepreneur, so you need these skills. So design thinking skills, creative thinking skills, and innovations. So that what is by design thinking? So normally that we know that what are the problems we are having, we have some solutions. So for an example, that you are having the curriculum which consists of that laboratory. So in the laboratory, so you are doing that whatever that given problem, so that one only you are doing. But the thing is, for an example, if you are seeing that questions in the hackathon are some that companies they are, so regularly they are conducting some online event. So if you're checking that questions, means they are giving one scenario. So for that scenario, you have to do programming. So normally that what we are giving, so write a program for computer science students, means write a program to find that whether the given number is odd or even, or write a program to find the factorial of the given number. So like that what are the standard problems are there? So that one only we are giving. But as a MHRD, so they want uh, they want to start that more startup from the student side, because that if you are starting that any company, means there is no need of depending that anybody. So you can do that whatever that you are thinking. Suppose that one small example. So in the toothpaste, so normally that in the toothpaste, means we are purchasing some 50 rupees or 60 rupees or some 100 rupees toothpaste. But in the, for that toothpaste also, maximum it will come by 1 month only for normal family, that normal that with 2 children family, means so it will come up to 1 month only. So they want to increase their sale, because that some low cadre people, they are not willing to purchase that toothpaste, because that cost is that around 60 to 80 rupees. Their one day salary is also that much only. So they are not very much interested to purchase that one. So instead of that, if you are the same product, it is available for 5 rupees or 10 rupees, means so they can purchase. So and also that one of the difficulties is also there. So normally for human being, so what we are doing is, so that when we are applying paste in the toothbrush, means so we are applying that paste from that starting of the teeth to ending of the teeth. So that is our habit. So because of that there may be huge loss in the paste. So by avoiding that one innovation they made. So that what innovation is, they reduce the nozzle size. So if you are reducing the nozzle size, means automatically that quantity of the paste will be reduced, so that they can sell in the either in the 5 rupees or 10 rupees also. So in the 5 rupees or 10 rupees also, so that paste will come for the 2 weeks. So that kind of modification, they did only small things. They're not doing that extraordinary things. They are doing only small things. So instead of that big nozzle, they reduce the nozzle size, so that that quantity of the paste will be applied, that paste will be reduced. So this kind of thinking only be required. So design thinking is a method for creative problem solving. So the focus of the design thinking process is entirely user centric. So the various techniques and methods are used to integrate the user into the innovation process early on so that the developer can understand and implement his or her wishes, need to perspective. So why that concept was popular means, so because that most of the colleges are most of that MHRD and all, so they are encouraging the students to start this startup. So for that only they started that IIC. So that main goal of IIC is, so we have to encourage the student to develop or to start some startup. So they want to become an entrepreneur. So if you are employee means you have to depend on your employers. But if you are entrepreneur means there is no need of that depending on the employer. So you can give jobs to some 10 to 15 people. If it is a small scale industry means, then you can go to, then after some 3 to 4 years that you can go for that middle scale industry also. So design thinking is a non-linear. It is an iterative process which seeks to understand users, challenge assumptions, then redefine problems and creative, innovative solution to prototype and type. Prototype and test. So the method consists of 5 phases. One is emphasis, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So these are the 5 phases for that design thinking. And it is a most useful when you want to tackle problem that are ill-defined or unknown. So this is a background. So then it is a popularized by the Tim Brown and David Kelly, who are worked in that IDEO laboratory, and also they are belongs to the Stanford School. So they created this model. So it is a structured creative problem solving process, but enables innovations and positive impact. So these are the 5 phases: emphasize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. It is a human-centered design process, which is truly understood and emphasized by with users. Then that we are talking about the double diamond. So that always that design thinking process is it's like a double diamond. So first one is it is we want to discover something. So when we want to discover something means they are giving some problem means, so you can think n number of solutions. For an example, I'm giving, I want to find the given number is odd or even. So for that, there are n number of solutions are there. So one is you can do that modular division, or you can use that pointers, or you can use that some operators also. So like that, you can get some solution. So when the time of that starting, our mindset will be in the diverge. It means that you can think whatever that you want. So then when you want to define that problem, so for an example that that people may tell that, for an example, if you are learning some 100 words means when you are delivering, you can able to deliver only some 10 to 20 words. So in, for an example, you studied that 100 words, with help of that 100 words, they form some statement. When you want to define means, so you can able to define by using the 10 or 20 words only. So it is called as a converge. So when you are discovered, it is diverge. So it is increased. When you are coming to define means it is once again converge. Then if you are going for the develop, so in the development. So in the development means we can implement in any other ways. For an example, if you take that programming means, you can implement by using Java, or you can implement by using C language, or you can implement either by using the Python. So there are n number of options are there. So that is also diverge. Then when you are going for the delivery, so delivery means either you can implement in one programming language only, so that one only you are going to deliver. So that is in the converge stage. So diverge, converge, diverge, converge. It is look like a double diamond. So that design thinking dimensions are, so it will be that mindset and corporate strategy and process and toolbox. So what is by mindset and corporate strategy means? So for an example, that if you want to develop a problem means, so your mindset will be focusing on not only a single solution, but it is focusing on that many solution. And for some guidelines are given by the corporate. So for an example, there are a lot of models are there, Delphi model or some lot of model like that, lot of models are there. So according to the model, you can use that your whatever that you are choosing, then that you can apply that strategy. So then the process. So the process is the whatever that we are doing, that is the process. Then the toolbox. So the toolbox means what are the predefined applications are there. So that application that we are ready-madely available that we are using. So now that we are going to discuss about the different processes or stages, the first one is emphasis, which is that we are developing a deep understanding of the challenge or problem. So first, for an example, if you take that software engineering, so in the software engineering, the first phase is requirement phase. So in the requirement phase, we are going to collect that what are the requirements are there from the customer. So according to the customer needs, we are going to form one committee, and from that committee, we are going to develop one document that is called SRS document. It is a software requirement specification document. And also sometimes that we can tell that it is a lab manual also. For an example, you created one lab means, so for that lab manuals are available. So in the lab manual, it is clearly mentioned that what are the process we are going to do in that particular lab. So like that, that clear information, so that are given in that particular phase, so that we can go for the next stage. So the next one is a define. So define means here that clearly articulate the problem you want to solve. So in this means that you can, so for an example, you are getting some problems. So for that you are having that n number of solutions. So you can present that solution so that expert can tell that which solution is suitable for this problem. Then the next one is the ideate. So ideate means here we are using the brainstorm potential solutants. So the brainstorming, so which is that very much useful for doing some activities. So for an example that we are delivering the normal lecture. So the normal lecture means, so it may be that 50 minutes session or it may be 1 hour session. But as per these statistics, if the students are attending the classes more than 8 minutes means their concentration will be deviated. So up to that 8 minutes only they can concentrate. So we have to deviate from that concept. For an example, that continuously that we are giving the lecture for that 45 minutes or 1 hour means, so that students they can't able to understand. So for that only that most of the people nowadays they're preferring for that PowerPoint presentation. So in the PowerPoint presentation means, so instead of that full theory, the students can understand that pictorial representation. So mostly for my presentation also that I avoid that statements. So instead of that, I added only that diagrams, because that if you are seeing the diagram, so you can understand more when compared to if you are reading that one. So that brainstorming technology is mostly useful that ideate, so that we can select and develop your solutions. Then the next one is a prototype. So normally that if you are a civil engineer means, whenever that, for an example, you got some constructing one bridge. So for that, before constructing that building, you have to create a prototype. So in the prototype means instead of that creating that real bridge, so you can do with the help of some materials, you can build that building as a model, so that if it is that prototype is approved means you can implement directly. So in our computer also we are having the simulation softwares. For an example, that data mining means that Veka tools. So the Veka tools is it is also a simulation software. And for networks, the network simulators. So these are the simulators. So whatever the real things are there. For an example, you are going to do some project in the ad hoc network. So in the ad hoc network, so if you want to perform that project means you have to purchase that sensors, all type of sensors. So in the real time that it is not possible, because that when you're purchasing that sensor, it costs around some 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs. So that because that we don't have that much investment. So by avoiding that only, we are using the simulator softwares. So in the simulator software, it will be useful for an example, instead of that real-time implementation, we are doing in the simulations. Or for an example, that other example that if you are taking that automobile, for an example, you want to test that particular automobile braking systems. So you cannot write that vehicle physically. So for that, that simulator also there. So in the simulator, that what is the capacity of the car? So who is the person riding that car? So what is the weight of that car? For an example, if only one person is riding means, so what is the weight of that particular car? So whether in how much pressure that he is going to apply, because that when you are applying that brake or some that brake means, so according to the person weight only, that pressure we can give, because when the person is that very lean, so he can't apply that full force. So you have to do that, you have to give that additional force also. For an example, one person is having that more weight, so there is only less pressure is enough for applying that brake. So these are the parameter we have to consider, and that parameter is applied in the simulator software, so that they are testing that automobile. Then finally, that testing. So the testing part is that in our software also we are telling that software testing. It may be that black box testing or white box testing or unit testing, like that, rigorous testing. There are n number of testing is there. What is the need of the testing is, before, as per the requirement, we design that product. So we completed that product, but we want to know that whether that particular customer requirement are satisfied or not in the testing phase only. So the testing phase, it is engaged a continuous short cycle innovation process to continually improve your design. So this is also similar thing, only that emphasis means that understand the user's needs and problem. Then define means it is analyze your observation to define the problem. Then ideate means think of solution to each aspects of the problem. Then prototype, which is the develop solution prototype for each aspects of the problem. Then finally, it is test the product using the best solution identified. Then that we are going to discuss deep about that each and every stage. The first one is the emphasis. So here that research your user need. In the starting, I already told that it is like a similar like a software engineering first phase. It is a software requirement phase. Here also that we are asking some requirement from the student, so that we are giving some additional input. For an example, that for one particular problem, students is having the 10 solution. So means that what are the best solution, that one only we have to find. So for an example, that MHRD, they are organizing that Smart India Hackathon. All over India, they are organizing the Smart India Hackathon. So for almost that all the government departments, they are giving some problem. So for example, you take it as that railway. So for railway, initially the people are, for an example, that last minute they want to catch the train. So for an example, that I want to send my son or daughter to some place, so that I have to go to that railway station. So that it is in hurry only that I'm going to that railway station. So when I want to take that platform ticket, so that time, if there is more number of people are waiting there in the queue, I can't take that ticket. So that what I will do now, so directly I'm going to the railway station. So I'll send my daughter or son like that. When I'm returning, if the TTR is asking that platform ticket means, so I can give that n number of reason, but they are not accepting. So I have to pay certain fine. So by avoiding that, when you are booking the ticket, if they included that platform ticket also, for example, that platform ticket, it is 5 rupees or 10 rupees, because that we are booking for ticket for some 1,000 or 2,000, like that amount. So for it is for 5 rupees or 10 rupees, it is not that much costly. So when you want to book a ticket, so definitely you know that someone will accompany you, because they only drop you up to the railway station. So you have to add that feature in that app, so that people can easily, that particular people can easily they can book the ticket. So this is one of the small changes. So like that from government agency also, they require that many changes. So for that only they are conducting the Smart India Hackathon. So those who are giving the best solution, they will get some rewards. So I think that some 10,000 rupees cash for that first prize, and along with that shield and appreciation like that they are giving. So the first stage of the design thinking process allows you to gain an empathetic understanding of the problem you are trying to solve. So typically through the user research. So empathy is a crucial to a human-centered design process like design thinking, because it allows you to set aside your own assumption about the world and gain the real insight into users and their needs. The next one is a define. So define means here that state your users need and problem. So here that in the define stage, you accumulate the information you created and gathered during the emphasize phase. So you have to analyze your observation and synthesizes them to define the core problem you and your team have identified so far. So that you should always seek to define the problem statement in a human-centered manner as you do this. So that whenever that we came to know the problem, so we have that n number of solutions. So that n number of solutions we have to define. So in that we have to present. So in that, so they have to give the best solution. Then the next one is the ideate. The stage 3 is the ideate. So ideate is a challenge, assumption, and creative ideas. So here that designers are ready to generate ideas as they reach these stages. Third stage of design thinking. So the solid background of knowledge from the first two phases means you can start the think outside the box. Then that look for alternative ways to view the problem and identify the innovative solution to the problem statements you have created. Then the next one is a prototype. So the prototype only that here only that we are going to do some prototype, or we can use some simulation software also. So this is an experimental space. So and the aim is to identify the best possible solution for each of the problems identified during the first 3 stages. So the design teams will produce a number of inexpensive scaled down versions of the product to investigate the problem solutions generated in the previous stages. The final stage is testing. So here that we are going to do the testing. So because the testing is essential, because that when the testing is done, then only we came to know that whether the given problem we identify the proper solution or not. Then that we are talking about that other skills, that analytical skills and intuitive thinking. So these two are essential for design thinking. For an example, that if you're having that only analytical thinking, it means that it produces a consistent and predictable result. For an example, if you have one problem means, so you have to discuss, you have to think that problem and you are giving the predictable results. That is analytical thinking. But intuitive thinking means after that product is results, after that producing the product, it means the product results that meet the target objective. So, but in the analytical thinking, we are only giving that solution. But in the intuitive thinking, we are checking whether that particular solution will meet the requirement or not. In the design thinking, it is a combination of these. Analytical thinking, it is 100% reliability, and intuitive thinking is 100% validity. It is a design thinking is a mixture of analytical and intuitive. So mostly that analytical thinking that engineers only having. So that engineers means though they are mostly concentrating on whether the product is reliable, whether the product is safe, whether the product is proven. So they are mostly concentrating on reliable. For an example, you're purchasing one mobile. So they are telling that the camera quality is high, and also if you are open that many application also it won't hang like that they are giving. So if you want to check that product means, so you need that analytical thinking. But when you go to that intuitive thinking, so it is mainly for designer. So you know that the difference between B civil engineer and B tech architect. The civil engineer will construct that particular project, but that designer will give some additional things so that that product will be more beautiful. So there are some traditional problem solving and with the design thinking. So for traditional problem solving that we have precise the planning, but in design thinking mainly on trial and error. So in traditional problem solving, we are avoiding failures, but in design thinking, we are learn from failure. So that's why that they are telling that you have to go for, we have to go for that prototype instead of that real implementation. So in the traditional problem solving, it is throughout analysis, but in design thinking, it is throughout testing. Then the traditional problem solving, it is a presentation, but in design thinking, it is an experiment. For an example, I told that automobile. So automobile, if you want to test means, with the help of that experiment only, we can do. Then the traditional problem solving, that we are focusing on the customer, but in design thinking, we are making a customer relationship, it is much stronger. Then for traditional problem solving, it is an intermittent, but design thinking, it is not, it is a continuous. In traditional problem solving, we have to think, but in design thinking, we have to do. It means we have to implement. So we can divide that visualization into 4 parts. One is what is, one is what if, and what wow, and what works. The first 3 here that I mentioned, that project planning, value chain analysis, and mind mapping. So these are all, it is comes under what is. Because with the help of this only, we came to know that what is the problem, what is the, how many types of solutions are there, like that. Then the next is a what if. So here that we are going to check about that 4th and 5th. It means that brainstorming and concept development. So here only that we are applying that more things. For an example, that what is the use of that if-else statements? If the one condition is given, if the condition is satisfied means, then the true statement will be executed. If not means, then the false statement will be executed. Like that, for an example, one problem. So this is one type of solution. If that particular solution is failed means, we can go for another solutions. Then the next one is a what wow. Here we are going to discuss about that assumption testing and prototyping. Then that finally that what works. It is a customer involvement and learning launch. So some of the examples they are giving. So for what is means that we can do that framing, interviewing, analyzing, and observing. Then what if we can do that exploring, creating, brainstorming. Then what wow, we can do that building, evaluating, refining. And what works, we have to do that experimenting, implementing, and testing. So whenever that we want to do that one thing means, before starting, you have to begin with, first you have to identify the opportunities, then you have to define the scope, then define the scope of the project, then draft your design and make plans. Then the next stage, what is? So the next stage, sorry, it is what if. It is that do your research, identify insights, and establish the design criteria. Then the next one, we are going to apply that new techniques, that is brainstorm ideas, develop concept, and create napkin pictures. Then that when we are going for that prototyping or simulation, so that time we can uncover that assumption, we can make the prototype. Finally, the testing part or implementation part, we can get that feedback from the stakeholders. We can begin the learning launches and design on ramp. So suppose that for an example, that if we are designing that our curriculum and syllabus. For an example, you are going for that autonomous means, we have to design for your curriculum and syllabus. So for designing that curriculum and syllabus, we have to adhere with that ACM guidelines. So in the ACM guidelines, and also that we have to adhere with that AICT or what university we are depends on. So that university guidelines we have to follow. So once that syllabus is formed, that we have to send that syllabus to that stakeholders. So the stakeholders may be a student, or stakeholder may be a parents, or stakeholder may be a some professors from the other colleges, or the stakeholders may be an industry person. So like that we can ask their recommendation so that we can modify our syllabus so that it will be very much useful for that course attainment. Because nowadays that all the colleges, they are going for that NBA and NAC. So that NBA means it is only that outcome based education. So in the outcome based education, that most of the people, they are preferring that we need, whenever that you are framing the syllabus, you have to get the feedback from the stakeholders. Then that this is the design thinking for innovations. So first we are defining the challenges, then gathering the data, then reframe the challenge, then incubate, ideate, then iterate, implement, access outcome or refine, then test prototype, then finally we are evaluate or refine. Then that only that design thinking is not enough for innovative projects. So in the design thinking, we have to go for that lean startup and we have to apply some agile diagrams. So in the first one, so the design thinking, it is a customer problem. So here that we are emphasizes, it means emphasizes and define, ideate that problem. Then the next stage, it is a lean startup. So in the lean startup only we are learning, we are building, we are iterating, we are measuring, and we are trying some experiment, which will be pivot or preservers. Then finally, it is an agile model. So in the agile model only, we are giving some solution to the customer. So in the agile model, so the diagrams are divided into these two parts. The first is only is a problem solving phase. Then the next is the execution solving phase. So whenever, so up to this, it is a comes under problem solving phase. So whenever that we are going to build or we are going to product backlogs or sprint planning, sprint execution, shippable increment, and sprint review. So these are all comes under execution and solution phase. So initially we talked about the 5 stages. The later that it is implementation also added in the design thinking. The same thing that emphasize and define, it is for understanding, ideate and prototype for explore, then test and implement for materialize. And for problem space, that first 3, understand, observe, and point of view, it is comes under problem space. Then that solution space, it is ideate, prototype, and test. Then that it is a design thinking process. So that understand and observe, we are plan the project and collect the stories and summarize the research. And for POV, the proof of work, that we are defining the problem, key insights, and design principles. Then for ideate and prototype, we are giving some solutions. So it may be a low fidelity prototyping or high fidelity prototyping. Finally, when you are going for the testing phase, so we are having that product. Then for defining problem and defining solution, we are dividing like this. So in the design thinking process, it is like a loop. So for an example, it is started with the emphasis. So in the emphasis, what is the problem? So here we are defining the challenges and explore the human content. So then, so this blue color, so it is a defined. So what is it important? So it may be a research or observe or understanding and create a point of view. So then we are going for the test. So whether that it is, sorry, that third one is ideate. So ideate, how do we solve it? We can apply that brainstorm ideas, good and bad, and don't stop the obvious. Then we are creating a prototype. So this color. So in the prototype, how do we create it? It may be that starting creation or experiment or fall cheap and fast. Then finally the test. So in the test, whether it is work. So we are going to implement the product. We have to show or don't tell that start to redefine the product. Suppose that if we find some problems are there, once again we have to start from here. The emphasis is define, ideate, prototype, then test. It is like a loop. So once the product is over, so we are exit from the loop. So initially that in the starting stage, we may have that lot of problem and we may have that lot of confusions. So because sometimes that mainly we are lagging in the investment. When we are going to start up one company means that main thing is that we need some investment. So you have that product. So what are the things are there? So you have one product, but when you are going to implement means without that investment, you can't complete that product. So in the starting stage, the confusion levels are more and it is clumsiness. And when you are going to the next stage, observe. So here you got some clearance. Then that point of view. So in the point of view, you will get some ideas. So for an example, in the understanding time, so you may get some 10 different solutions. But for 10 different solutions, you have to check that what are the pros are there, what are the cons are there, like that. So then that we have to go for that observe. So in the 10 ideas, you can select some 3 ideas. So like that Smart India Hackathon, for an example, that all the colleges, they are submitting their ideas. So from the ideas, they are choosing one or two idea from some colleges in that particular region, so that they are observing. So in the observing stage, they are rejecting that many ideas. Then that they are giving to that some what to say, some innovators or some mentors, they are giving that ideas. So they are checking that what are the feasibilities are there, whether they can they are checking what are the props are there, what are the cons are there, so that they can give some recommendation. Then we are going for that event. So the ideate, it means that we are participating in that particular hackathon event. Then that we are creating some prototype. Then we are going to test. Finally, we are going to implement. That one only we are giving to that judges. So that in the starting stage, it is an uncertainty or patterns are inside. But in the ending stage, it is a very clarity and it is focused only on the one solutions. So already I told that it is a double diamond. So in the design thinking, we are using the diverge and converge, diverge and converge. So when you want to discover things means, so you may have that lot of ideas. When you are defining that one, that ideas will be very less only. Then once again the diverge. So diverge means when you are going to implement means you have a lot of options. Whether you can, for an example, on programming means, so you can implement in either in the Java or either in C or C++ or Python, like that. Finally, you are going to validate in one programming language only. So what are the two programming language you use? So for that only the projects are developed. So that one only you are going to test whether it is working or not as per the customer requirement. So in that next is a similar thing only, that emphasis to help define the problems. It is like the loop. So what are the things are there, we can do that particular loop. So after emphasis, we can go for the define. Then that we can go for ideate. So in the ideate also, then we are creating a prototype. Then finally we are going for testing. So if the testing is not there, if you want to change only the programming language means, so we can go directly to ideate, or else we have to go from the starting. Like that, the loops are given. And the next one is a creative thinking. So up to now we are discussing about the design thinking. Then here is the creative thinking. So in the creative thinking, that initial stage, it is a problem only. Problem. But for that problem, we may get some unique ideas. So, but in the unique ideas, we can present so that we can get the best solution. That will be, we can implement. So here we are applying that for ideas also, we are applying that visions. In colleges also nowadays, that in all the colleges, they are having that vision and mission statements. For an example, if you want to attain your mission means, so you have to focus on your visions. Then the 10 stages of creative thinking process. So the first one is the imaginations, then innovations, motivations, knowledge, inspirations, vision, idea, brainstorm, and mind. So these are the what is it? These are the thinking ability we require. So for an example, you want to start one company means you require that imagination power. So for an example, one problem is given means, so in your mind, you have to imagine that whether we can go this way or whether we can go that way. If you are going in this way, means that how we will reach. So suppose that you can take it as a for an example, you want to travel from one city to another city. So now the timing is that 8 o'clock you have to start. For an example, if you are going, if you start by 8 o'clock means, so if you are going by city means, definitely the traffic will be more, but the kilometers are less. So you have to calculate. So if the traffic is more, so you can drive our car either by first gear or second gear. So more maximum the third gear. So in some other solution, we can go for that outer ring road. Outer ring road means that national highway road. So in that national highway road, the one drawback is that we have to pay that for toll gate. But the advantage is we can use that maximum gear. It may be that fourth gear or fifth gear, so that you can reach on time, and also that the time will be, for an example, that there is no delay when you are reaching. So these are the parameters you have to think. And innovation, so how much innovation we can apply. Then the motivation, so how, for an example, that if you want to start one textile in your area means you have to check how many houses are there in that area, whether the previously any the textile shops are available. Then that you have to think that what is the profit of that particular textile. If we are starting that particular textile, at what margin we have to give the product. So these are the things you have to check. And also whether if that no one has started that textile in your area, particular area means you can start. So like that you have to do some analysis. So we have to apply some knowledge. So these are the things are essential for creative thinking. Then that the similar thing only, that analytical skill, so which is used for ability to analyze the things first. Then we have to open-minded. It means that thinking of the things no one else has considered before. Some 5 years before, I had a chance to visit one exhibition in this school. So in that exhibition, the students are presented their innovations. So one girl was impressed. She kept that weighing machine under the gas cylinder. I asked, what is the need of keeping that weighing machine in the gas cylinder? She told that my mother suffered a lot because that we are having only one cylinder. We don't know that one cylinder when it will be over. So we have to book for another cylinder. So that I'm using this small that weighing machine in the gas stove, so that empty cylinder she reset for 0. Maybe it may be that some weight, so that she reset to 0. Then that she kept that full cylinder. So that full cylinder, that after that usage, so it will be, the weight will be, it is showing that initially it was, for an example, initially I'm telling that it is 14 kg means, then automatically it is reduced to 13, 12 like that. When it comes to that 1 kg, that it is showing that 1 kg, that time it will give some alarm. So that she made some circuit also. That time it will give alarm so that my mother can book that cylinder. So this is one innovative idea. But we don't want that much investment for that. But that ideas are innovative. She gave a best solution for that, because in that exhibition she got that some cash award also for that innovations. So that much skills are required. So you cannot focus on only one area. So there are some other solutions also there. For an example, that if you want to check whether the how much that gas are available means, you can use some cloth. So you can use some wet cloth. You can keep above the cylinder. So that within that 5 minutes, so that where that empty spaces are there, so that part will be evaporated. That in the wet cloth, that wet was evaporated. Only that remaining part, that wet will be there. So like that also you can easily identify. There may be a number of solutions, so, but we have to think in the different way. So then that problem solving, so that ability to solve an important issue. So here that question is given, x plus what is equal to z. So we know that z question mark is equal to z minus x. So that is one solution. So like that you can give that a number of solutions. And organization, so being able to structure a plan of action with clear goals and deadlines. Then the next one is a communication. So the communication is a strong written and oral skills, which ability to listen and ask the right questions. Then we are talking about the creativity and the innovation. So what is the relationship between the creativity and the innovation? So without creativity, we can't do any innovations, because the creativity is the input and innovation is the output. So we are thinks up new ideas in the creativity so that we can put into action in the innovations. The creativity can be described as bringing a unique approach and way of thinking to the way you do things. The innovation can be thought of as the result of creating process, ending up with the new and better product or service. Then that what is creativity? So the creativity, it brings into that existence an idea that is new to you. Then innovation is the practical applications of innovation. Innovation is the practical applications of creating ideas. Then the creative thinking. So for creativity and innovation, we require the creative thinking. It is an innate talent that you are born with and a set of skills that can be learned, developed, and utilized in a daily problem solving. For an example, there are some people are there. For an example, if you are telling that one word means, so from the one word, so if you are telling that one sentence means, from the one sentence, you will take one word. So from that, you will tell some jokes. So like that, some people are there. So they are having that much creativity. Then what is creativity? It is a creative solutions are more than ideas. They must work in the real world. A creative solutions have three attributes. One is new, useful, and feasible. So it is new means it is always that creative ideas should be new. So don't copy from others. For an example, that you want to think one idea means, so don't search in the net. So for an example, this problem, what are the solutions are there? So don't search in the net. For an example, once that creative idea is think by you, then that one it is implemented by you. You can go for the patent. So if you go for the patent or copyrights, so that you have the rights to have that content. Then that next one is that it is useful. So for an example, if you are making some innovative product means, so that will be useful for that all. Only for the product, for an example, that I'm creating that product, for an example, I'm writing one book, textbook. So I got only that one copy. So in that one copy for the my personal purpose only, that I'm keeping that copy, like that means there is no use. So you have to sell that, you have to print that n number of books, so that you have to sell to that others. Even sometimes that it is that you have to go to that some colleges or some, you have to approach, you have to you have to recruit some MBA student, so that they can sell that book. So they will exhibit to that other colleges. For an example, you are staying in one particular area means nearby that colleges, you have to send your instead of you are visiting to that particular college, you can send your representative, so that he can explain and he can give that some copies of book, so that that particular professor he can read, and if it is the quality means he will recommend to that students. Then the next one is it is feasible. It is given the messy real world constraints like money and time. So always that we have to develop a product with some profitable also, and we have to invest some money, because that if we are investing more money, but you will lose that, you're not, what to say, you have failed in that one means you may face that lot of issues. Then the type of innovation, it is a business model innovation. We already discussed, there are some examples are that HP also producing laptop and Dell also producing laptop. They are adding additional features like that. Then process innovation. So it is innovation to implement a new or significantly improved productions or delivery method. Then the product innovations, which involves the introduction to new goods or services that are new or substantially improved. Then the service innovations, it is similar to product innovation, except that innovation relates to services rather than the product. Then that these are the three components are required: expertise, motivations, and creative thinking skills. That expertise means, in words, that is a knowledge technician or procedural and intellectual. Then motivation means that whenever that innovations are there, that people has to appreciate and they have to motivate. Then the creative thinking skill, so it determines how flexible and imaginatively that people approach the problem. So there are some myths are there. The smarter you are, the more creative you are. The young you are, more creative than old. Then creativity is reserved for few, that flamboyant risk takers. So then the creativity is a solitary act. So you can't manage the creativity. So then the tools for creating new ideas. So these are the tools: attribute listing, brainstorming, and visioning. So these are the tools for creating that new ideas. That attribute listing, it means that we have to know what are the attributes are required for that particular problem. So suppose that you want to do one project means, So first you have to collect the attributes. It means the data sets. So in the data sets, so what are the attributes are there? So that one that you have to consider properly. So, and also we have to ask that many questions. So because that if we are asking that question means, so then only you can get that many ideas. So finally, that we have to look at ways in which you can modify the attributes in some way. Thus you can increase the value or decrease the negative value and create a new value. Then the next one is a brainstorming. So already I told that we have to apply the brainstorming technology. So when you are applying the brainstorming technology in between your session means that students also they can interact more. For an example, in the brainstorming means like that you can conduct a quiz related to the particular topic, or quiz related to, or a debate to that particular topic, or you can run some photos. So from that photos they can identify some something like that. You can do some innovative ideas with the help of that brainstorming. So in the brainstorming we have to follow some rules. It is no criticism, or that for an example, that when you started that one means afterwards they won't there is no criticism for that particular event, and also they are not debate for your event. It is not that event name. So then that quantity over quality, it's a free will and combine and improve. So that brainstorming, that we can give that additional boost to that particular ideas. Then the next one is a vision. I already told that without mission, we cannot achieve our mission. So it is a motivation view of the future. It creates rules and it gives the directions. So imagine that brilliance and innovative futures. Think about what you are trying to achieve. Then go out into the future, then look around and see what is there. So it works. We are an imaginative species and are motivated by what we perceive as the possible or desired future. Because always that people are required that clapping. So whenever that, for an example, one student is very good in mimicry. He is presenting that mimicry means if the audience are clapping means then only that he can go for some other voice also. He can take the some other voice also. So instead of that, the audience are that keeping mum, they're not listening or they're not encouraging means automatically that he will lose his confidence level. So these are the organizational characteristics that support creativity and innovations. That risk taking is acceptable to the management, that employees have that access to knowledge sources, innovators are rewarded, new ideas and new ways of doing things are welcomed, information is free flowing, good ideas are supported by executive patrons. Then that for creating a creative climate means that for motivation, it requires challenges and fun, empowerment, maybe freedom, time, and support. And for dynamism, it is energy, debate, and dialogue. Openness, it is experimentation, trust, and risk. So there are a comparison between innovations and creativity. So for innovation means it is a introducing of new or improved product, services, process. But in creativity means we are imagining ideas to create something. Then that innovation is related to implementation, but creativity is related to imaginations. Innovations we can measure, but creativity we can't measure. Whether you can for an example, daily when you are sleeping, that you are daily you can see that some dreams. Whether that all the dreams, whether you can remember in the morning, it is very difficult. So we cannot measure. And that innovation, it is related to observation, but creativity it is related to experience. Then that innovation is a risk of failures, but in creativity there is no direct risk factors. Then that innovation which costs of implementation, but in creativity it is cost of employee time. For an example, that one person is daydreamer means he is only going to lose that particular time. So instead of that doing that innovative things, but always that if you are dreaming means it won't work. So whenever that you have dream means, so that dream you have to do practically. And that innovation is that organization process, and creativity is a personal quality. So these are the innovative thinking skills required: motivations, attitude, and skills. So motivation means it's a dream, passions, discovery, curiosity, challenge, fun, and rewards. And for attitude means it's a value creations, then creative dissatisfaction, open mind, breaking rules, risk taking, learning. Then skills means there are a lot of skills are there: invention, observation, etc. So normally there are a lot of templates are there for creative thinking. So this is one of the templates which is mainly used for the SWOT analysis. So the SWOT analysis means we have to check what is our strength, what is our weakness, what are the opportunities are there, what are the threats are there. Suppose that if you are going to implement one product, so what is the strength of that product? So what is the weakness of product? So I already told you want to start that one textile shop in your area means what is the strength is there means, so you have to check how many shops are already there, and what is the weakness. If there are many shops are there means you have to reduce your margin price, then only that you can survive. Then that opportunities, then threats. So then that we are talking about the Delphi questionnaires. So the Delphi questionnaire is also mainly used for the critical thinking and design thinking. First, we have to survey with open-ended questions. Then that results are evaluated. The responses are categorized by the panel. Then the questionnaires are completed by the expert. Then finally, the quantitative questions are developed and new questionnaires are designed. So mostly that MBA students, they are following this Delphi questionnaires. So they are framing. For example, they want to do one project means first they will frame all the questions, then they will present to that their consent guide. So the consent guide will evaluate and he will finally fix that what are the questions we can send to others. So that then that final, it is a final one means either they can create a Google form. So in that they can add that all the questionnaires, then they can share to their college students or their classmates or some outside also they can share. Then it is a Gemba walk. So Gemba walk also it is one type of template which we are following in the design thinking. So first we are defining the topic and we are instruct the observed user. Then focus on the process or product. Then take a close look at the critical points. Then that documents the result. So do not make the suggestions during the walk. Then the sixth one, we have to invite the further observer with a different perspective. Then finally that we have to discuss the observation and subsequent actions will be with the observers. Then the prototype. So first we have to create a prototype. Then the second stage is we have to test and evaluate the prototype. Then the third stage we have to further develop the prototype. So once the model is created, you can approve means you can go for the real-time implementations. Then that the difference between problem-oriented thinking and design thinking is the problem-oriented thinking. We need that critical thinking. It means we have to ask why or what. Then that we are getting some answers so that we can go for that. The final solution is the problem-oriented. But in the design thinking, it is a solution-oriented thinking. We have to apply some creative strategy. So for that, we can go for that how. So how the product is implemented, how it is feasible, like that. So it is a solution for the problem. So when you are applying that some logic, you will get some colorful imagination in your mind, because that always that instead of that, for an example, you are presenting one black and white image and also you are presenting one color image. The people, for an example, you did some drawing in the black and white and also you did some drawing in the color image. But the most of the people, they will prefer only the color image because the color is somewhat attractive instead of the black and white. You have to apply some logic and you have to be creative. So that renowned person told that we can't solve the problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. For an example, that why that we are updating the syllabus and curriculum. It is not, for an example, that syllabus, it is not standard for from the starting of the computer science department to that now. Every time that we are changing, that initially that the syllabus, the programming language, they use COBOL or Fortran. Then the later they change to that C. So now that most of the people are preferring the Python. So like that we have to change. So otherwise that if you are not changing means we can't survive in the current society. So these are the keywords which is used in the creativity, innovations. So I thank all of you for listening my webinar. I thank you once again. So this is my details. So my mail IDs and my contact number given. So this is my WhatsApp number and this is my website address. If you want to ask any questions related